I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you are impeccable with it, then you will do this and you will do that and you will accomplish a lot more than if you're just wishy-washy with it.
So who is Don Miguel Ruiz?
All right. Yeah. On to our book review.
Yeah. We're going to
Look,
try a new segment where we talk about a book that we both read and actually got a pretty good impact from.
yes. So the book is The Four Agreements, and I only read it recently, within the past year.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you.
Oh, okay. I probably maybe even within the past 6 months, actually. But so okay, we both read it recently.
hmm
Fun side note, I read it in Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish, so there's a good chance that I missed a lot of the stuff, although I felt like I got it. So we'll see. Uh, but that'll make for an interesting conversation.
So
So,
for those of you who don't know, Don Miguel Ruiz is a Mexican author, and he is a spiritualist, and this is a fun word. Ne- he is an author of Toltec spiritualist and neo-shamanistic texts. Yeah.
okay,
Neo-shamanistic.
that is a fun word. I like it.
Yes.
No
He
chauvinistic.
they his Wikipedia article, which is completely factual all the time, says that he is the best received among the New Thought movement and focuses on ancient teachings to achieve enlightenment.
Awesome. So are you on his Wikipedia right now?
I am.
Just real quick, how many like other books does he have? Does it list them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books.
Awesome.
He should have stopped at 4 because that would have been a nice full square. I'd say full circle, but the four agreements.
I'm gonna have to check them out because I really did like. The only one I've read is the Four Agreements, and I really did like it. So
Mhm.
yeah, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, so I love books that you can distill into 4 lines.
This one's perfect.
Yes, yes, it is. And that's why I liked it so much. But I didn't feel like he dragged on at all. He got to the point, he gave me the example, he made me feel guilty for breaking one of the 4 agreements every chapter. And then he made me feel better saying that we just try our best.
Yes, exactly. The last one. Try your best. All right, real quick, let's just say what the Four Agreements are, just so everybody knows what they are.
I'll say them in English, you say them in Spanish.
Okay, great. Let me see if I remember exactly. Wait, you
All
gonna
right, I'll go first.
go?
Okay, so the first one is be impeccable with your word.
And that was sé impecable con tus palabras.
Con tus palabras.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So number 2 is don't take anything personally.
Yeah, I love this one actually, and it is no te tomes nada personalmente.
I do like that one. Don't make assumptions. Number 3.
No hagas suposiciones. I think is the word.
And then finally, I already alluded to this one. Always do your best.
Haz siempre lo máximo que puedas.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So those are the Four Agreements. They're one thing I would say about this book is I tend to be somebody who, if you said those four things to me like 3 years ago, I would have just gone like, yeah, no duh, and what's the big deal? But this funny thing in life, like sometimes when things hit you at a certain moment, it
Yep.
all depends on whether or not you're ready for that thing, you know?
Serendipity.
Yeah, timing matters for sure. So you could have said these things to me 100 times over the past 10 years, would have got nothing out of it until I was in the right mental space to receive the, I don't know, the profoundness of what's
Yeah.
being said. So just so happens I was reading this book earlier this year at a time where I think I was just open to it and it just hit me in a different way. So if you're listening right now and you're like, those don't sound that great, just come back to it in a year.
And
Or
we'll see you next week.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what I would say. So before we go any further, that is just the timing of it for me was what made the difference.
So I want to start this one off with be impeccable with your words. So we have talked about this a lot at my job. So we talk about integrity because it matters a lot. And we were working with this company that suggested that we flub some integrity. You
Mm,
do some advertising, you don't necessarily lie, but you just don't tell the full truth. Like, oh, we've helped thousands of people lose hundreds of thousands of pounds. Here's some pictures that weren't our people. You know, it was like a marketing agency, and they were like, here, we'll just give you all this stuff, just do it and follow the plan, and it'll work. And it didn't do well. No surprise. It was like disingenuine.
yeah. And people
Turns out
that.
that when you talk the way you normally talk, you attract people who like you better. And then you can be more yourself, and that makes them happier. And those people are usually happier in general with you because they know what they were getting right off the bat.
Yep.
So that's a very specific example. And I think integrity right now is more important than ever. I don't want to go into politics, but like, yeah, politics.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I agree. Um, this one was a little, I wouldn't say it was hard for me, but I would just say that I've never really used that word impeccable very much before. And so hearing like, okay, be impeccable with your words, it took me a little bit to kind of like process what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the word you're using, integrity, really does sum it up. So it's not just like don't tell a lie, but it's more so like, yeah, have a little bit of pride in what you're saying and
Yeah.
stick to it. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to stand for something, stand for it, you know? Uh,
All the time. You have to be like firm, and it's who you are, not what you do.
yeah, exactly. So I think integrity is a good way to put that. Have integrity. And if you do it, I mean, obviously I mess up all the time, but if you do it and you actually stick to that, if you are impeccable with what you're saying, think about the things you say all the time. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you are impeccable with it, then you will do this and you will do that and you will accomplish a lot more than if you're just wishy-washy with it.
Yeah, that's why this is the last 5 minutes that I'll talk the rest of my life. So you can be impeccable with your word if you never talk.
Yes, you can be perfectly impeccable.
Perfectly impeccable.
Um, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that one?
I just think this one's the hardest because just like you said, it's cool to say I'm gonna do and I wanna do. Maybe it's a good sign that people should say less and do a little bit more percentage of what you say so that you can slowly build up your tolerance to commitment to yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things I kind of relate it to, like, again, well, why can't you just say a bunch of stuff and accomplish some things, but still be like, what's wrong with that? You accomplish some things, but you say more. What's wrong with that? But I think it kind of goes back to, have you ever heard of just, there's like this, I think it's Jordan Peterson. Have you ever heard of him?
The name sounds familiar.
He's fairly popular. He's an author, and I think he has a podcast as well, but he's a psychologist, whatever. He wrote this book called something like the 12 rules or something. I don't know.
Is it marketing? Is he a marketing guy?
No, he's like I believe he's a clinical psychologist, but he has this book that came out within the past few years of like these,
12 rules for life.
yes, 12 rules for life. There you go. One of the ones he has in there, and I don't think he's the first person to say this by any means, but one of the ones he has in there is something like make your bed in the morning. And it seems like, why do I have to make my bed? Why can't I be super successful and not make my bed? But the idea is that it just ingrains a way of being in you that is that I am just going to always, keep a tight ship. I'm going to keep things orderly, and it doesn't seem like it's going to have a huge impact, but every day I'm accomplishing that one little tiny goal,
Yep.
and it's building discipline within me. It's building a habit, and that's going to over time manifests itself in other ways. So I think that's kind of how this be impeccable with your words rule is, or agreement is, because it doesn't seem like, why can't I just say I'm going to do this and then not do it? It's not hurting anybody. It's just I didn't accomplish my goal. But that chips away at you over time, you know?
Yeah, and I want more people to do, I don't mean this like an offensive way, but like I want more people to do what they say they're going to do, because there are so many cool things that people have ideas for.
Uh-huh.
And I just want more cool stuff.
I agree. And don't get me wrong, like it's a balance, right? There's obviously a balance here. If you know that you have this great idea and you're just never going to do it, then maybe it's okay to tell somebody who can do it.
Yeah, well, you tell them to help you do it.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough, they'll help you do it. But
Kind of like when you want to like start a podcast to talk about training and you rope your friends into it and it makes both people happier.
exactly, that's
Or
exactly